Good morning, Bill.
Good morning, Bill. How are you, man?
I'm pretty good. How about yourself?
I am doing well. I have a very full day, and yeah, that's
Very cool.
yeah, like very full, and have some tasks that are like just tedious and like kind of big, and I kind of like don't really understand them, so I'm very slow in doing them,
Mm-hmm.
and that is kind of stacking up. So
Okay. Yeah. Well, I know what that means.
yeah. So I'm
Uh,
I'm fidgety.
okay.
So yeah. Yes.
What place, Levi? Accountability from scratch.
Accountability from scratch.
Yep. So
How was school?
it was. I was fidgety. That was a good word. I was a fidgety dad yesterday.
Did
Uh,
you?
well, I think I've told you this before. Like there is a mood that comes over the school because it's small enough that everyone kind of sees each other, sort of, but it's big enough that it's 100 plus people there. So it was the whole place was just kind of like wired yesterday.
Mm,
No one was really concentrated and stuff like that. So that's kind of set. Like I said yesterday, environment affects me. So it kind of made me a little more fidgety and wanting to do work and stuff like that. So I held off until probably 2 o'clock, and then I actually left my phone um, at the house, and so I haven't
nice.
done that in a long, long time. Um, but it was super nice actually. And
How's the writing going?
it's good. It's going really good now. Actually, it's that was a butt kicking for me.
Did
And
you get like past the block?
yeah, totally. Yeah, I'm looking forward to the writing now too, actually.
Nice, man. That's huge. What
Yeah,
What do you think changed?
I don't know. I know you're gonna ask that too. I was like, there's nothing in particular. It's just I don't know. Maybe having it's one thing for someone to ask you, "Hey, you doing something today?" Right? That's one kind of level of accountability. It's another level to talk about it in front of other people together from multiple angles for an extended period of time, more than just, "Hey, is writing on
Yeah,
the list today?" Right? I think maybe something around that rekindled the importance of it. I'm not sure. I don't know. That's all I
yeah.
can.
I mean, it's just awareness, right? And it was so funny. I think about this kind of often, but in kung fu, everybody kind of had their different things that they would look for, right?
Mm-hmm.
Because like we're all looking for the things that we struggled with,
Yeah.
right? Because like that leads to the stuff that we put the most work in on. So now it's the stuff that we are mostly focused on, right? So
Yeah.
you might do a form in front of like three different people and get three different sets of feedback just based upon the focus points, and like that is what good accountability like should be, right?
Yeah.
um, because yeah, like we're way too bogged down in it.
Oh yeah. Even and I'm thinking like so when the kids speak at presentation time, um, the certain kids have the same feedback, no matter who they're talking to. They have the same two or three comments all the time for all the people that they're giving critique to. But you're right. It's because that's the thing that they look for and notice. Probably struggle with themselves or have heard, or I think even the opposite. If you're really, really dialed in yourself on something that you're good at, because you always think about, I got to do this when I do this. You'll
Mm-hmm.
also get that feedback because you're already thinking about it.
Yes. Yep.
Yay! Yes, I did. Hey, Fanny.
Hey, Fanny.
So good to see you, Fanny. But
And
yeah,
the torrent opens because Fanny knows everybody.
that's right. That's right.
Um, so do you need to do anything to like stay connected to your current mindset around the writing?
Um, Probably, but I couldn't tell you what it is because Yeah, I'm not sure. That's an interesting question because that sounds like a good question around something that might take me a while, but I think I'm going to be done with my first draft pretty quickly. Now that I'm in the pocket of like, so it'll probably be one of those things like you, where I get to the next kind of milestone, and I'll be like, oh yeah, I should do that. I should put that on the calendar. I should, because I'll have finished writing, and then I gotta get a cover design or or something, or then I gotta get it sent out to 10 people to read, or I gotta all those different things.
Yeah, I mean, when I was pretty close to being done with it, I was reaching out to some companies and they're like, yeah, okay, you're still about 9 months out. Like, 9 months? Ridiculous.
For you, maybe.
Yeah.
Okay. 9 months.
That was 6 months ago.
That's right.
So yeah.
Yeah.
It's a much bigger process than I thought. So
it certainly can be. Absolutely. It all depends on what format and what process you're using.
Yeah. Right. And then it competes with all the other work, right?
Mm-hmm.
Client work and marketing and
that's for sure.
Other stuff. And yeah, because, on the task list is to sit down and write the conclusion. And it's like, yep, I need to do that. However, tasks, Right. So
maybe later.
Yeah, maybe later. Yeah. That's the key right there.
Yeah.
If you can avoid I'll do that later.
Yeah.
If you can just not ever have to believe that and just say, I'm not gonna do it later, I'm just gonna do it right now.
Fanny. Yes. John, you go first because you're closer. For now.
For now. Oh, you mean like that, Levi? Just a little closer to the pen? Is that what I did? Oh, Lord. That's so funny. Competitive Jake comes out.
Right. Game on.
Yes. Fanny, last year I got done with Tiger King sooner than other people did and was bored, so I wrote a book. It's called Selling from Scratch. We are in the home stretch of it. So cover art and all of this stuff. And it's really just about how to sell effectively. But really, honestly, it's just about how to communicate really, really well. But sales just has a really clean ROI to it. So it's easier to get people excited about communicating well when it's tied to revenue.
Yep. So we're looking forward to a 2022, 2023 release of that book. That.
Man, that was such a kung fu buddy razzing that you almost just got a kung fu John response. I'm just piss off, Jake. That's not going to happen, my friend. Thank you, Fanny. Appreciate that. We were cycling through a bunch of them. My partner Melissa is my editor, and we also live together and everything. So we're laying on the bed, and we were just kind of talking through some titles, and I said, "What about this?" And we just liked it, and the domain was available, and really like it. Very happy with it.
I'm just so surprised. We talked about this before, I think, of what type of URLs are available these days. Because selling from scratch, holy cow! Never would have guessed in a million years that's available.
Me neither. Ever. But I can't get smallmtn.com.
Just like me, we're in the same boat, brother. Remember, deep fishing guy Jake Jordan has mine. So deep sea fishing.
TheJakeJordan.com.
Oh, I can get that probably.
Yeah, I think you've had that before.
Yes. No. John's book will be out soon, so we're looking forward. I got an email about a launch list.
Yes.
So that is a great trap you set for yourself. Saying, "Hey, do you want to help me launch it?" Now I actually have to launch it.
I have such a funny mindset thing to discuss about this whole thing. Okay. So, I called all my contacts, right? I pulled everything that I could that was easily accessible, right? So both my Gmails, my scheduler. I had this list of about 1,300 people. We uploaded it, sent out a message that said, "Hey, I don't ask for help. often, but here I am. I wrote a book. I'm trying to do this huge thing of removing the selling stigma. And I need your help. If you want to be part of it, please click here. I think it's probably like 1,200 people total. Now, the good mindset is people who opt out are fine because they're not part of my target audience, right? Yeah. This is not for them. It's not relevant. So we send it out. The opt-in rate is very low, which is totally fine. Very, very like hugely low, right? Yeah. And
the whole plate's more than me, right? I signed up. It's more than just me.
Yes, okay, yes, yeah. Right.
But work for you.
Not like a lot though, right? Because I guess 100 would be right. If it was 1,000, then 100 would be 10%, right? So about 50, so about 5%.
Like to me, that's standard cold mail. It's standard cold email response.
But hold on, this is not cold email, my friend. We have exchanged an email on some point if you're in my Google contacts.
That's true, but that's like saying we met once at a party, so it's not a.
I'm a memorable dude, especially now with all of this stuff going on.
No, I'm just trying to if I sent that to my list, I'm going to tell you if I had said 2,000, probably like 2,000 Gmail contacts, I bet 300 of them are warm. 400 of them are warm. The rest of them are people like I've met once and sent you an email about something somewhere in life. So I'm complimenting you. I think that's a good rate. 5% is really not a bad run rate for just what's probably over half cold.
I mean, some of these contacts are very, very old. Some of them are from like back in the days of Iron Egg and doing all of that stuff. So, it is a wide ranging list, but I'm just looking at the unsub rate of don't ever email me again. And then I kind of had to talk myself out of that, right?
Yeah.
I mean, emotional perceptions, right? Some of these accounts, like I was going through and looking at it, and I would just see the person who it was tied to, and I'm like, man, they're out now. That sucks.
Oh yeah.
And then come to realize all those people that I was bummed out about had left positions, and these were all business accounts and stuff like this, right? So I was like, okay, like this makes sense. But man, emotions are dangerous. They are brutal at times. So
they can light you on fire.
They can light you on fire.
Yes. For real. Yes. For real. Yeah. So that's good because I'm going to obviously be doing something similar. And so obviously even thinking the ask itself doesn't have a lot or much of anything in it for me as the person getting the email other than to just, hey, support a buddy. Right. So it's it's a cold ask really. So it's good. I'll do that. That's awesome. I think that's personally, I think that's 5% good run rate. Emotions are dangerous. That's right. Well, I'm not quite there yet. I'm still in the first draft on mine, but it's cruising along. After we had to come to Jesus last week with my dad and John on the air and Levi in the comments, and so mine's called "Frameworks Make the Dream Work," and mine is about how we have our most success inside of frameworks in life, and so how really understanding the science and simplicity of frameworks and why they work so well. And helping you pick out a couple that will make you do more easier, kind of the 80-20 rule of pick the few things that you really want to do well in life and pick a framework that will do all the work for you. Because the reason, we do the things we do, work with the people we work with, pick the problems we want in life, and we've talked about this a bunch, is a lot of times it's because it's a problem we deal with and we've overcome, or we're still dealing with, still trying to work through. So we have these thoughts on, John didn't want the stigma of a sales guy, right? And so that probably has something to do with you wanting to write the book. That it doesn't have to be that way. It can be a noble profession. And then I have the stigma in the framework having, forgetting things and always feeling like I was behind or forgetting something. And so putting it into like something that I can just go down the list and remember not only helped me not forget things, all of a sudden my work was better because I was doing all the best practices every time. And there's just a shocking amount of people that don't use frameworks in so many areas of their life, which is why I think a lot of the self-development productivity people are having such a heyday now, because largely what they're doing is just putting you in like a morning framework or a productivity framework, or so yeah, that's the one I'm working on.
It's gonna be so good. It's gonna be so good.
I hope so.
Because like the thing is, the moment it's a system, it's better, right? Like the minute it becomes a system, right? It's better. We a lot, like when I was very, very, very first starting out in sales training, right? Like I was brand new. I was working with a guy, and he gives us a just like a sheet with just filled with numbers, and he was like, find these numbers as I call them out. And we're like, okay, and it's like taking us forever and stuff. And he goes, now I want you to draw like, boop, boop, create quadrants on the thing. Mm-hmm. And we're like, okay. And he goes, now I want you to look in this quadrant, this quadrant, this quadrant, this quadrant. We're like, okay, like, yeah, like this makes sense. But that made it better. Just like having a system, having a process, having a defined way of doing it to see if it works for you, as opposed to just, well, hey, so like sales is that thing, right? Mm-hmm. Business is that thing. Mm-hmm. What are you trying to do in a sales conversation, right? Like, what are you trying to do in all of your conversations? If you're trying to build relationships, then what does your framework look like to do that consistently and regularly? Mm-hmm.
The science of how your brain processes information is so complex. At the same time, it's so simple. As it puts things in buckets so that you can do them in small, minute tasks. And when you hand it to it in a bucket, instead of hand it to it like this, here you go. Mm-hmm. What do I do with this? All of a sudden, surprise, things work easier, faster, better.
Yes. We're putting everything into ClickUp right now, right? Carrie is helping us out with that. And it's so funny because you and I talk about process yes, Fanny, that's exactly right? There's a reason why engineers do the things that they do, right? Because it requires systematic approaches and, critical thinking about like, if I do this, what's going to happen kind of stuff.
Right.
I don't remember where I was going before that.
You had just started on the thought, so I'm not sure.
Oh, okay. But yeah, the tighter you know that process, the better it's going to be, right? And because then you can learn to apply it in like so many different situations. Sorry, go ahead. I'm getting ramped up now.
You really
Well, because I was talking about this with somebody just yesterday, right? Like in the beginning, when you're trying to learn Kung Fu, right? Like it's brand new, you don't know it at all. It has got to be the most biggest set of movements. It's crazy. Mm. And like, that's not really what like fighting is, but you have to learn the movements and do them a lot to really, really own them. Mm-hmm. So you don't have to worry about making it perfect the first time. That's a lot of pressure. Don't do that. Just work on trying to improve it. But like after a while of doing all that stuff, you can fit those kinds of movements into where they don't fit.
Right? Yeah.
Right. So then the tighter your conversational process is, right, especially like around selling, the more you can do it. Like the reason why I can ask anybody 10 questions and sell them their stuff back to them is because they're just the same ideas. I follow the same steps in pretty much every one of my calls. It's a checklist in my head. Right. We're going to talk about their motivation. We're going to talk about what happens if they don't change. We're going to talk about money. We got to talk about the path to yes. Who else is involved? Who else are you talking to? When do you plan to make a decision? And I can do it in my sleep, right? So if someone comes up and they're like, "Hey, John, I sell propane and propane accessories." Okay, great. How would I sell that, right? And most of it is like 80% of it is the same, right? There's 20% of it that shifts, but you got to be really good at that 20% because since it involves another human, there's chaos involved with it. So you got to be on your game.
Yeah, for sure. Hey, Miss Ishi, how are you this morning? Yeah, The King of the Hill reference was fantastic, by the way.
Thank you. Thank you.
Lost me. Yeah, but because and you look at this, athletes are the easiest way to see this, right? But they work on movements all week long. That way, when they get into the game, they're not thinking about the movements; they're reacting to the other people. The movements are natural. They got to be present for the game.
Yeah,
and that works in so many different areas of your life. Because my book is a business book, but it's really has application across anything that you're trying to accomplish, right? And so I don't know. This is going to be an interesting question for you because you're such a systems guy. You're a C. But why do you think people push back or buck frameworks, processes, systems so hard?
Well, because we always think that we're the outlier, like 100% of the time.
Okay. Yeah.
Like,
what do you mean by that? I think I know what you mean, but what do you mean?
Well, you get injured, like, hey, you're going to be out for 6 weeks. Not me, man. I'll be back in 2.
That's right.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
The woman who's helping us with the book had like hip surgery, and like, it was so funny. I heard her on the phone, and she goes, yeah, they're saying 8 weeks, 5 max.
Right.
And I was like, man, that we all think that about ourselves, right? So even as much as I like know my stuff, right, there are still moments where I slip away from it, right? Because you don't the things that make you successful don't stop being helpful. We just stop doing them because we think that we don't have to do them, right? We stop going back to go look at the notes about what's happening on our calls because we start to think, oh, I got this, and then all of a sudden you're not making that connection with your prospects and the people that you're talking to the way that you were, and you can't really figure out why. Maybe something else is going on. No, you stop doing the thing. Go back and start looking at your notes again, right? Putting them into the system, being thoughtful, being deliberate and intentional about your conversations, as opposed to, I got this, right? Which is what most salespeople do because we have so many conversations, right? We're not as good as we think we are. So got to put in a little bit more work.
The best PPC person I ever worked with managed. Her name was Rebecca. Shout out, Rebecca, if you're out there.
She probably is. She's not in here.
Yeah, she's not here. So. I'm pretty sure she was a C. Because she was an absolute machine, and she had a checklist taped to her big monitor of her daily tasks, and every day she would go through and go like this. I would watch her physically check them, and then we would have strategic conversations, and she'd go back and rewrite the list based on new information and testing. And every day, and dude, she slayed for some of our, because she knew exactly what worked and what didn't, and crossed it off the list when it didn't, and added something when it did. And on top of all of that, she did it every single day. And that's only because she had a system.
Yes.
Which is crazy. And I took that from her because I was still running some SEO at the time. And I was like, I'm going to do that. I'm going to put my SEO list up on my computer. That way, when I have to do an SEO client, I'm going to make sure and hit all those points, right? Same thing. It's so easy.
It's so funny. The checklist gets it done. And I remember a long time ago, we had this thing at AT&T. It was this list of things that we had to do at opening every morning, right, inside the retail store. And they were called non-negotiables. And we all treated this thing just like, oh, yeah, here we go. Let's polish the phone screens and stuff. But now I'm like, yeah, that's the jam. That's how, if you do the 5 minutes a day, you don't have to do the once a quarter for 6 hours cleaning, you know? So when you know that checklist and you're on top of it, maintenance is really easy, right? If you're sitting on LinkedIn for 90 minutes a day, engaging, having conversations and stuff, you will have a network. You will have people you can have conversations with, people you can turn to. If you don't do that, except whenever you need it, then it's a monstrous task, and people want to automate it full tilt, which just annoys and drives everybody off.
Yeah, it's true.
Yeah.
That is a thing.
Fanny, real quick, you're thinking about writing a book. What would you, what's the book about if you're going to do it?
What's that?
Yeah, her book. She has a comment in there. Guessing you guys have read. No, okay. So I've not read it. Everybody talks about it. I've not actually sat down and read it. I have it on the shelf back here, but
Really?
it's on the list. Yeah.
Is that one of those books where you're like, I know what it's going to say, so I'm going to read it when I'm looking for
All
something?
right, so this is pretty funny because the very first time like I heard about it, I was like, I'm a checklist guy anyway. I don't need to read this thing, and then I kept hearing about it. So I think it's one of those things that I should maybe be reading with more urgency, but I might have. Okay, cool. I think most of this stuff is because I'm not the guy who just understands that like a checklist is better. Like I'm like getting things done kind of person, right? Universal inbox, make it really easy, do it, delegate it, schedule it, and stuff like that. So yeah,
Yeah. Well, and when I see a book, because that was my immediate thought when I just saw the title of it. I was like, I teach like much deeper strategies to clients than checklists. So what's that book going to do for me, really? But admittedly, that's what was my thought. And so, but I do like to pick those books up and read the summary to go, what angle is this person coming from, right? Like, what am I missing? So, practice from a checklist master helps to sharpen your tools.
Yes.
Sure, it's a good book. I get what you're saying now, John. You were asking Fanny what her book title is going to be because she said she was going to write a book.
Yes.
LinkedIn content strategies. Cool. That's good. There's Fanny, you're good at engaging in LinkedIn. You're somebody that I luckily I'm just friends with anyway. But like I think one of the things I admire about you is how good you are at engaging in LinkedIn. So I'd be able to read it even just in general. Okay, but to tie in my self-awareness journey as I learned the content.
So, okay, because Fanny's here, I'm curious about this because our LinkedIn guide is about to go up on the AppSumo marketplace. We're going to put it up there for free. I've been letting people read this thing, and one person was like, "This is like 5 ebooks. This is one ebook." I'm like, yeah,
it's good.
Yeah. And so we're gonna break it into 2. We're gonna have one for free up on the AppSumo marketplace. Kind of that thing of like, my free stuff is so good.
You want to buy though?
Yeah, you're gonna be impressed with the paid stuff. But like when I'm creating content on here, it's not content in like the vein of, and maybe this is just the right mindset of anything other than. Oh man, I can't like. I think the guide would be so much better if I could like speak through this point, like 3 words, movie. But I'm not trying to do something big with the content. I'm just trying to like make sure that like as people get connected with me and they're seeing that content, they've got a really clear vision of like who I do, and that is consistent with the person who's like sending them messages.
Okay.
Does that make sense?
I think so, but I think it's because I know you. I know your concern. I'm not sure I understand necessarily the tie-in. You're trying to make the guide reflect what they would be stepping into with you.
Yeah. Yes, exactly. Because I'm not trying to drive. Okay. I think that this might be the thing. I'm not trying to drive awareness to something else. I'm trying to have a conversation that leads to a Zoom call.
Okay, gotcha.
Right. Yeah. So I'm not trying to do the hey, go look at the site and like and subscribe and all this other stuff. Like all my content is very direct. Like pretty.
Yes. Sales guy.
Yeah. Too direct, according to Jake. I sent a guy a message that this new outcome that we've had for Dan, right? We had 1 session. The next day he closed an extra $1,250 because he asked like 3 more questions, right? So he was pretty ramped up. So I shared this with someone, and man, my mindset has like shifted around this like just this week so much. It's been really, really helpful and nice because some people just aren't in the group. That's totally fine. And so this hardcore, like hard charging dude, you can tell like it's all over his profile. He's like hardcore D. I sent him this pitch or kind of outcome. I was like, hey, would you like to have a chat? And he goes, weak pitch, John. And I was like, only for you. And I only know that because this is your response. Right. Yeah. And so I responded, and I was like, well, I have another outcome for people who were, wired a little bit more like you about like outcomes and ROIs, but I'm not even going to send that unless you ask for it. If you still want to be friends, that's totally okay, man. No big deal. Because like, what am I trying to talk them into? You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. Yeah. But for someone who's not versed in with how the D communicates, that might seem like a no. When it's just, your game's weak, bro. You need to bring it.
No, I know. That's fine.
I'm just saying.
Oh, yeah.
People that don't recognize that.
Yeah.
They're like, oh, my bad. That wasn't a no. That was like, come on. That's the best you got?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. I think 5 or 6 years ago, a response like that would just kind of like torch my soul a little bit, because I do think that there is something else to be said about like, you have to take your no's. Right. If you're just like combing through it, right, because you have software or something like this, and you're like, well, blah, blah, blah. There's something character building about like taking the no, right? Like, hey, thanks for the feedback. Thanks for letting me down gently, right? Hope the content changes your mind eventually and stuff like that, because it's still like an opportunity to build a little bit of rapport, and stuff like that. So that way, then later on, because the other thing is that all these conversations are there. Right. So when they send something to you and then you never respond, and then like months later, and it's like, oh, hey, I'm just checking in because now I help X do Y into this. Scroll up, man. Like it's all here. It's funny. Like it's like a set in stone back and forth that is always accessible. And they still get to inject tone into it.
Yeah, I think that's why it's so important that you are always, present, but like that you exit the conversations well.
Yes.
Like you shouldn't be the guy setting flame to DM. Like they should never be a place where you are okay 2 out of 10 conversations setting a thing on fire, because I can't tell you. Oh, well played. That may be well above some people's heads, but
wrap this up. Put it into a token, the non-fungible type.
That's right.
Put that on an auction mark, because apparently that was a nugget.
I'll put it in savings, because that might be worth some money someday, right there, my friend. That's good. That should be your NFT right here. I'm just going to screenshot this for you.
Yes, exactly. Yeah.
That's the pixels you need, James. That's awesome.
Yeah. Put James's comment up there and screenshot that, and we'll sell that as an NFT.
Mm-hmm. Exactly.
And you can also have a shirt.
Yeah. Go for it.
Sell it back to them.
Man, it's getting so meta.
Yeah, it is. Absolutely.
Okay. Well, I actually have some work at 8:30. So
yes, me as well.
All right.
Cool.
All right. Well, we're gonna wrap Thursday.
Yeah.
Tomorrow we have a Friday.
Do we have a
guest?
The grand finale.
Yeah. Should we go out with a guest tomorrow?
Really?
Why not?
Who's the guest?
Fanny. Let's get Fanny on here. Fanny, you want to come on the show?
We should let anybody on who wants to come on tomorrow.
Yes, that's the thing.
Yeah.
Come tomorrow, and we can just talk on air.
Yeah.
Let's do that. I love that.
If John does not attend this thing,
okay,
I'm going to be very upset.
Well, I'm going to hit some people up in DMs today, so we'll try and get like a party going tomorrow. Exactly.
Now that it's over,
yes,
please come hang out with us.
Yeah, well, it's the going party. We're there.
Absolutely.
Levi
is so excited.
Yeah, I'll believe when I see it. He's got some coaching.
Why are you negging him? Why are you negging him right there? He's
gonna be the first one. I've asked him like 3 times if he wants to come on air, and he's like, "Well, I'll do it if you ask me to, but I don't know, So I'm asking you to, Levi. I want you to be on the air.
Is that more frustrating for you than your mom, who's like, "Well, I know you want me on there, but does John want me on there?" Which one's more frustrating to you?
Oh gosh, that's a different type of frustration. So it's kind of right, because one's my mom, so it's like, I get it, mom, whatever, haha.
Mhm.
But then there's Levi, who I have disc golfed to death, who needs.
Hold on. How are we defining the label to
really.
death? Hold on. To death twice?
I
Twice?
bludgeoned him with my disc.
All right, so Ron, Fanny, have a great day. It was so
I'll see you
good
tomorrow.
to see you.
Yeah, I would love to have Levi. Oh, look at that. There's an I answer. I love it. Yes.
I didn't realize I made you feel rejected. Let me put some tone in there that like this is what happens, right? Like that sentence twice is hardly to death, bros.
Right. Yeah.
And you
sarcasm implied for sure.
Tonality is important. Super, super important. So we can leave it there.
Yeah. I hope to see you on the air tomorrow. I'm inviting you kindly when I turn up.
Yes. Well, I guess we'll just put the link in the comments.
Mm-hmm. Yep. And we'll just line them up.
All the platforms.
Brian Shulman style. Just start throwing people on there.
One at a time?
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, no, we can do a party if you want, but I think we can do up to 10. I think we can go up to 10.
Okay, cool.
Then it becomes one of those Zoom calls that's just chaos. You're like,
oh man, I love those calls. I have one of those calls today.
Oh, do you?
Yeah. It's so funny because there are a ton of people who like still haven't figured out like how to address a group of people.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So they're big, huge group of Zoom calls. So how do we do this? And everyone is just like, well, Bill, Mary, you know, like, because this is the thing that I realize is driving me nuts. In these like interview situations that I see where people are just bad, they don't know how to like specify someone, draw them into the conversation, get them like really invested in the conversation. So it just stays like surface level. Yeah. Ask questions.
I can't. You and I are on so many Zoom calls now that like there's now a level of expertise to hosting Zoom conversations that you can see.
Yes.
And so when you get in those 10 plus, even 5 plus, just depending on the group, and it's just John.
Yes. The Sherpa newsletter. The Sherpa newsletter will be reactivated soon, and a big portion of it is going to be nuggets from calls. Since I apparently give away a lot of stuff for free as a consultant, you're not really supposed to do that. But if I give it to them for free, I should give it to other people for free. So
package it up that way. It feels like they're getting it all the time in an email.
Exactly. So I do on average 15 to 20 Zoom calls a week. So I have a lot of cool conversations. There's lots of cool nuggets. Working with
I would have lost a Vegas bet around that. I would have gone the plus on that.
Well, this week is light.
Okay.
Recency bias. So yeah. It's probably more like 30, honestly.
Yeah, I was gonna say I 5 a day feels about average for you, but I'm not actually sitting in your schedule looking. So.
Yeah, no, that's true. Yeah, it's about 5 to 6 a day. Dang it. I was going to say something. What was it right before that? Oh, so yeah. Going to put those nuggets into the weekly email that goes out to people. Because if I'm giving it away for free, I might as well give it to everybody for free. So if you want to do that, that would be awesome.
That's right. We'll put that link up tomorrow.
Yes. Yes.
We'll look at banner.
Cool, man. Well, buddy.
We will talk tomorrow then for party time.
Party time. Excellent.